Hey everyone. So before we move forward in the novel, I want to take a little bit of time and discuss like the role of the main characters in this novel. I don't mean just like who they are in terms of characters, but like how they function in terms of this novel. Now, basically, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to do some chatting here, and then afterwards, there's a short quiz, little mix of multiple choice and some short answer. As long as you watch this video carefully, you'll be able to do just fine. If you want to have the quiz open while you watch the video, you're more than welcome to. So I want to talk about the characters. I'm going to first start talking about Guy Montag. All right. Guy Montag is our protagonist. He's our main character. He's, I guess, look, if Fahrenheit 451 was a video game, we would play as Guy Montag. He's the one that we kind of feel through. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're supposed to feel his frustration with wanting to be able to read but not being able to. We're supposed to feel his frustration with wondering what is in books. Why would that lady torch herself rather than part with her books? We're supposed to feel his frustration with Mildred being so vapid and clueless and in denial. And it is Guy Montag's whose journey we're traveling with. His journey from dedicated fireman, it was a pleasure to burn, to this new person that he's becoming now, who is it is no longer a pleasure to burn for him. Let's move on to Mildred Montag. All right, now Mildred is Guy's wife. We know she's not particularly bright. She's under the impression that she's happy. I mean, she insists that she's happy, but we know that she's not, and we know that she's not because, well, what's our first dealing with Mildred? I mean, the first time we see her, she's overdosed. And Guy has to call the emergency hospital to save her life. And the next morning, she refuses to believe that she would take so many pills like that, and it wasn't her. She would never do something like that in her mind. But the reality is, she did, and she is pretty unhappy, but also clueless about it. Now, here's Mildred's function in this novel. Bradbury gives us Mildred Montag as a representative of the general population in this society. All right, most people are like Mildred, and rather than introduce us to a multitude of characters who are clueless, he gives us Mildred. Side note, in an upcoming section of the book, Mildred has some friends over, and if you're curious to see what'll happen if you put 3 Mildreds in a room and try to make them have a conversation, it goes about as poorly as you're imagining it right now. All right, so Mildred Montag is representative. I suppose you could say she symbolizes society at large. All right, she represents the norm. What she represents, the way most people in this society are, as opposed to, we'll get to our next character now, Clarice McClellan. She's not the only one like herself. I mean, she's mentions that her family seems to be a bunch of rebels too, and what we see in Clarice is, I guess we could say, in a lot of ways, she's the opposite of Mildred. In literary terms, we call this a foil character. It's not foil, not first out, inner last. That's math. This is English. A foil character is a character. It's when two characters are designed to be opposites in many ways. Like Mildred clueless. Clarice, pretty tuned in to her world, right? I mean, she recognizes how messed up things are. Like, I want to like one detail that it almost just like flew by us. Montag remembers when Clarice said, "No more front porches." My uncle said that they got rid of porches because it looked nicer, but the reality is that they got rid of porches because porches it's a place to be social, it's a place to be introspective, so they got rid of them because, well, this society is not interested in being introspective. They're not interested in being social. If we go with Clarice's definition of social, which means sharing information with others, as opposed to what is probably Mildred's definition of social, which is being in close proximity of others or watching others on TV. Clarice is the rebel, and she's also kind of the trigger for having Montag start this journey. I mean, remember, for the very beginning of the book, it was a pleasure to burn, and then on the way home from that night, he chats with Clarice, and she gets him thinking. With that one question especially, are you happy? Now, and I know we've discussed that when we look back, there were other instances that in Montag's life that were making him question how things were in their society. But in terms of how the book is laid out, Clarice is kind of that trigger for Montag's growth. Now let's talk about Captain Beatty. Captain Beatty is also a symbol. Hey, don't forget, and we said this earlier in the year, symbols, they're not limited to things, all right? Symbols can be people, and Captain Beatty, just like Mildred is a symbol of an uneducated society, Captain Beatty is a symbol. He's representative of the authority. Okay, because someone's got to run this society, right? I mean, someone's got to be in charge. And one thing that I think is really interesting about Captain Beatty is he seems pretty hypocritical, doesn't it? Doesn't he? I mean, here's a guy that hates books, loves what he does, loves burning books, doesn't like intellectuals. However, he seems extremely well-read. And I can't prove this with a quote from the book, okay? But my gut tells me that this Fahrenheit 451 society does have a ruling class that has knowledge, all right? Could you imagine what would happen to this society, the society in Fahrenheit 451, or any society, if only Mildred's were in charge? The amount of things that Mildred can't do because she has so little knowledge about much of anything is astonishing. Captain Beatty has a lot of knowledge, is very much in control. I mean, that's why he's the captain. But he seems to have an unfair advantage. He seems very controlling. I mean, he stops by Guy Montag's house, like, you calling in sick? Yeah, see you tomorrow, right? Huh? See you tomorrow. Can you imagine if I can't tell you how shocked I would be if I was out a day here and then all of a sudden Dr. Andrews is at my front door, just saying, hey, you sick? You coming in tomorrow? That'd be weird. But Captain Beatty is the representative of authority, of the people that are in charge of this world. And I know we just met him, but I want to talk about Faber just a little bit. The next time we read, we're really going to get to know Faber. And one of the things he's going to explain to Montag is this whole burning books thing in the society, it's not just about books. Okay? Books themselves are representative of knowledge. And when we get to this part, this isn't a big spoiler or anything like that, because maybe you've already noticed it's not just books that this society doesn't have. They also don't have quality music. They also don't have quality art. They don't have a quality television program. They don't have quality leisure activities. Everything they do is just fun for the moment, but there's no real substance to any of it. And I don't want to give you the impression that I am anti things that are just fun. All right, like I'm going to see that Godzilla movie that's coming out real soon for one reason and one reason only, because monsters are going to fight and break a bunch of stuff, and it's going to be awesome to look at. I'm all down for just some monsters stomping on skyscrapers. That level of entertainment, it's a nice place to visit once in a while, but you can't live there. If you do, you end up like Mildred. So keep in mind, this book is not about a society that got rid of books. This is about a society that got rid of knowledge, that got rid of art, that got rid of freedom of expression, that got rid of having an opinion. And they do it all in an attempt to be happy. Perhaps they think that ignorance is bliss. Have you heard that phrase before? Ignorance is bliss. Let me explain it with bologna. I have a weird relationship with bologna. I don't like it cold on sandwiches. I love it fried. All right, it's I don't know how popular of a dish that is around here, but fried bologna with onions on a couple slices of white bread is fantastic. I'm a big fan of it. Now, I like it a little bit less than I used to because I used to be ignorant about how bologna is made. I'm not going to go into... I'm not going to bring in any videos about how bologna is made, but really, and I don't think anyone's surprised here, bologna is made from usually cheap, borderline scrap pieces of meat, and it's just kind of like pureed into like a goo, and then poured into a tube, and then cooked, and then sliced, and lo and behold, you have bologna. I have no doubt if I went to a bologna factory where they started with beef, pork, and chicken, chickens and cows and pigs, and then if I watched the whole process from that to bologna, I'm reasonably sure I would never, ever eat bologna ever again. But with the current knowledge that I have of bologna, I don't enjoy it as much because I know that it's not good for me. Now, before I had this information, I could have a fried bologna sandwich and not have a care in the world. Now, I could still have a fried bologna sandwich, and quite frankly, I sometimes do have a fried bologna sandwich. But while I'm eating it, I'm also aware if I can't have this all the time, it's not good for me. All right, I'm no longer ignorant to the fact of how unhealthy bologna is. So the short answer question on the quiz is going to ask you to talk about the idea of ignorance being bliss. But I want you to talk about it in terms of some other characters in Fahrenheit 451. Consider Mildred. Okay, is she ignorant? I would. Is she happy? You might also want to consider Captain Beatty, who is responsible for ensuring the ignorance. Or you might want to talk about Guy Montag, who seems to be wanting to move away from this ignorance, even if it's going to reduce the level of bliss in his life. All right, so all that stuff is waiting for you. I don't want to go on too long. I want to make sure you have ample time to take care of the quiz. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Mr. C's out of here.